How's it going, everybody? It's Pie the Flame, and we are back with another FPL live stream here on Twitch. And today we're going to be talking about Game Week 20. I'm here for the deadline stream for Game Week 20. We're doing it this evening because I won't be back in time for when the fixtures start tomorrow. Midweek fixtures, weekend fixtures, midweek fixtures, weekend fixtures. It's really jam-packed, and then I think it's FA Cup again, and then it's more weekend fixtures. So it's going to be pretty hectic in this one. Tonight we're going to be discussing captaincy options as per normal. We're going to check out the goals imminent table. We're going to be taking a look at what to do with Kevin De Bruyne. I got a little table that I nicked from the members area in regards to City assets for direct replacements. We're going to take a look at the season ticker and look at the fixtures going forward. And we're going to see what I'm potentially doing with my team as well. I did a lineup video yesterday, so if you haven't done so, check that out as well after the stream. But could have some different things going on. Not really sure what to do with De Bruyne. I've been seeing some stats, and some things are swaying me certain ways and making tougher decisions than what I thought. Because with all this free money now, what do we do? What do we actually do with De Bruyne? If we're going to drop him down to the likes of, let's say, Gundogan, that's a lot of money that you could use elsewhere. So we'll have to see how this goes. But yeah, if you haven't done so already, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to follow us over here on Twitch. You can come check us out over here during the live streams. Come be interactive in the chat, and we'll have a great discussion. We got a few people in the chat tonight that I already see. A lot of people already asking questions whether they should take hits or not. So we will see. We'll see how those go. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So, OS says Rashford to Grealish and Souček to Madison -8 hit. Taken. Wish me luck. Yes, that's going to be interesting as well. My KDB choice was easy. KDB to Bruno. Well, yeah, if you didn't have Bruno Fernandes, then that makes the most sense. He plays Sheffield United home. Very good captaincy option, so I think that's a good choice there. Rashford to Grealish and Souček to Madison. I'm not sure when the press conferences are going to be tomorrow, so I'm just going to bring where are the fixtures. So United don't play till Wednesday, but I think they should have a press conference on Tuesday at some point before the first set of games start. Because those first set of games start 2 o'clock my time, which I'm 4 hours behind UK time. So they'll have a press conference before 6 p.m. in the evening for sure. Whereas, like, if you're looking for Spurs news, Spurs played this evening. They beat Wickham or whoever they were supposed to be playing, and they beat them. So you might get some press conference notes from Jose from that are released tomorrow. So we'll have to see on that. Because Rashford, he kind of hobbled off versus Liverpool. Looked like his apparently it's his knee, but it looked like it was his ankle. I'm not too sure on that one. How Solskjaer said after the game it was bothering him. What that means, we don't actually know. So we'll have to see on that front. Cancelo over Bruno for captain. Pfft, boy, there's a little part of me that wants to do that because I've seen that a couple of times now on Twitter in the comments. I've seen it a couple of times and I'm very tempted. Zaka says I'm tempted to get in Werner with a new manager. Yeah, that's true. Is it is Thomas Tuchel or Tuchel? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is he the official manager? Have they announced that? I'm not even sure. I just saw Frank Lampard got sacked. So no more fat Frank memes, unfortunately. Tuchel, okay, makes sense. The thing is, though, with Tuchel, just on that point, he's a manager that always seems to get, and heavily criticize the board when he's there at all the clubs. And Chelsea's not a board you want to mess with because they'll get rid of you like that. Carlo Ancelotti won the double. He won the FA Cup, I think it was, and the Premier League in the same season and was fired literally in the tunnel after winning both of them. So, it just doesn't make sense on that front. Their board is pretty ruthless. But, yeah, Lampard, probably could have given him more time. It's like Solskjaer's been given a lot of time, and he's, shown that, you can go in a dip and then bring yourself out of it and then do quite well. Lampard, it just seems like Chelsea were a bit impatient. They said, we have all these new toys that we bought for you, and you're not using them right, basically. So yeah, it is what it is there. But I think it was a bit of a slight bit of inexperience. I'm if I had to guess what system Tuchel is going to play, he's probably going to go a 4-2-2-2 system, the same system that Southampton use. If you don't know how, I mentioned that on I think I mentioned it in the preview. I'm just going to bring it up on a different tab here for those that are unfamiliar with the system. Just bear with me here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let me see if I can put that up on the screen here. So yeah, the system that they're gonna play, they should play, is with 4 at the back, like this. Two in the CDM role. The same system that Southampton play. They kind of play like kind of wide attackers. So like you know, like a Walcott, like a Armstrong, like somebody like that. And then they play with 2 front men. And this is a system that I believe Werner played under in Leipzig. So basically, you would have Giroud would be my preference here. You play Timo Werner in here. Probably favor Werner on the left-hand side. And then basically Werner can make in runs off of Giroud. Out on this side, you play Christian Pulisic. On this side, you play Hakim Ziyech. Both players are very capable of pressing the ball quite well. And both players are going to be, you know, quite good at basically creating chances from wide. You obviously have Chilwell. You have Thiago Silva. And then you have some center back. I guess it's going to be Zuma now, considering Tomori's going to AC Milan. I don't know if that's a loan or official. Reece James. And then in this system, obviously when Conte is not suspended, you play Conte. And then depending on the team that you're playing, you could play Mount in this spot, in this double pivot, because he can basically do that sort of role. So he could also play, you could play Havertz in this role too if you wanted to. You could play Havertz in this role. If he goes 4-2-1-2, then what you basically would do in that scenario, it's basically going to look like a 4-1-4-1 in most cases. So you would just have Conte in front of the what's name, and then one of these forwards would drop in here, and you play it sort of like this. That's basically what it's gonna end up being. A 4-1-2-1-2. It's just effectively a 4-3-3 or a 4-1-4-1 in a sense. Tomori's alone, okay. Yeah, I think Mount is a very energetic type of player. I think you need that sort of player in there, which is why I think he's very good in a double pivot, because he's good at receiving the ball on the turn. He's very press resistant. And Werner is very good in and around strikers that can basically hold up the ball or dish him in behind. It's just Werner's form has been awful, and so is Havertz's. I think Pulisic has to play. I think Giroud has to play. I think Ziyech has to play. I think Mount has to play. The back four basically picks itself, Conte, and then this is obviously going to be Mendy. So it's just a matter of what system. I know he's played 4-2-2 or 4-2-2-2 at Dortmund, from what I've seen, but he plays a bunch of different systems. But it'll be interesting to see. I know he's a big fan of Pulisic, because that's who he played a lot of at Dortmund. So we'll see how that goes. Pulisic got a knock in the game versus Luton on Sunday. But we'll see. I know he is very injury prone, but yeah. Jones says it's a sad day for Chelsea fans. Yeah, it is quite sad. Obviously, you know, if Ole does get sacked or removed by the board without his own wishes, then it's going to be you know a bit kind of sour grapes, a bit of a bad taste in the mouth. So I can understand that. Also, it's a time to start bringing Everton assets back, DCL, etc. I mean, the fixtures are looking good. We'll take a look at that in a second. He'll start Havertz, I think. Yeah, maybe. And maybe his time in Germany, you know, will kind of make him favor those two. The thing is, though, like, we still have not seen like Havertz in a number 10 role playing off of like, or playing as like the false 9 with like Werner running in off him, with Pulisic on the left and Ziyech on the right with like Conte and like somebody else. We haven't seen that yet. that hasn't been available because either they haven't all been played at the same time, they've been rotated, they've been out of form, or they've been injured. One of the two. Or one of the many options there. Hey, Zodiac, how's it going? Glad that you can join us. Not sure why the Twitch chat is broken. Let me see if I can refresh it. Just gonna test it here. Huh. Weird. Twitch chat's broken. Let me see if I can fix it. How's it going? There we go. Fixed it. I'm not sure what happened there. Must have just bugged out. But anyway. So yeah, these are the fixtures. Let's take a look at them really quickly, just for this game week in isolation, just because it is obviously right around the corner. Crystal Palace versus West Ham. West Ham should do quite well. Set pieces, Crystal Palace aren't very good at. West Ham should do quite well. Leeds, again, should batter Newcastle, in my opinion. Same as City versus West Brom. Should be pretty straightforward for those teams. Southampton versus Arsenal, bit interesting. Ings is back. Obviously, they should have pretty much full strength. I think Vestergaard is still out. If we take a look at Southampton's... I'm just going to take a look at them over here. So, Walker-Peters potentially might not play. Vestergaard is out until the beginning of February. And Bertrand is suspended until Gameweek 21. So he's going to be suspended for one game. Benderek is back. Ward-Prowse is still there. Armstrong's fit. Walcott's fit. And Ings and Adams are back. So they actually don't have that many injuries. They kind of do. Remey is close to coming back. Bertrand's only suspended for a game. It's only Vestergaard that's been out for a long time, but they're getting people back. The main attackers are back, which is good for them. That's definitely a big plus for them. For sure. Cresswell or Kufau to start. Well, both of them will start. If you're talking about for your lineup, I'd go Cresswell on this one. The reason being is because Crystal Palace are very vulnerable to set pieces, and not necessarily as vulnerable from open play. Cresswell is the more expensive player, so you'd be more inclined to put most of your money out on the field. That'd be just me. That's how I would go. And Zaka also says that as well. I really want to do a -4 Kane to Werner. Never thought I would say that, but yeah. I mean, I would say on Chelsea, I would say we can definitely wait a little bit on them. You know, they play Wolves. Wolves haven't been great, but have been quite tough against teams in like the considered big six. Then Chelsea have Burnley. Going to be a bit difficult to break them down, but you're not going to want to rush Chelsea players back in for a team that's very good defensively, with such a little amount of time, with Tuchel being in the job. Spurs will be an interesting test. That'll be the first real test. You have to see what Chelsea are made of then. Then if they look decent, then they have Sheffield United. Like if they go with like a shootout with them and Spurs, they go like 2-2 and they manage to get a point, because that is away from home, so that would be good. If they get a point from that and they show the two Germans in Havertz and Werner do quite well, then you could be looking at potentially something there. But we'll have to see. We don't know how Tuchel is going to play. That's why if I have Chelsea players right now, I would hang on to them unless it's like if it's a Chelsea player like Werner or like Reece James or somebody like that, I would say hang on to him if you're pretty convinced that Reece James will play, Chilwell will play. Werner, I wouldn't be so sure, but I'd be tempted just to kind of hang on just to see. But I don't have any Chelsea players, so it's a bit of a tougher decision to make when you have cheaper assets available like Antonio, like Bamford up front in case of Werner. In defense, you have Cancelo and Diaz, which are slightly more than Reece James, but are comparable prices to like John Stones. So Chelsea can't afford to bench Werner. I mean, yeah, I don't think they can. I think Werner, you just kind of have to play him through his bad patch, unfortunately. I think giving him a penalty obviously made the most sense to see if he can get his confidence up. Again, he missed it, which made it even worse. But maybe the manager will come in and say, look, don't worry, you're the guy. Show him what you're made of. You've been criticized heavily. We know that you're good. Go out there and do what you know how, basically. The thing is we don't know what's been going on behind closed doors. It could be Lampard just absolutely bollocking him. And Werner's just confidence through the floor. Maybe Tuchel comes in, puts an arm around his shoulder, and then says, look, we know that you're good. Go out and do your thing. Gonna wait, not gonna go with a -4 for a guy which is in bad form and not even sure to start. Yeah, I mean, that makes the most sense. And Kane's versus Liverpool, who haven't been good defensively either, so. But yeah, let's take a look at the season ticker really quickly here. So I'm just gonna maneuver this over. So this is the next 5 game weeks, including game week 20. So this is kind of what we're looking at. This is assorted by attack. When are you planning on bringing Spurs back into your team? Could be this week. I could be bringing Son back in because obviously De Bruyne is injured. So an easy way for me to bring in Spurs back is Son. I can just bring Son straight back in. And then I can get Kane in for 23. I can show you what I'm thinking about in a little bit later on in the stream. Because that's kind of because the lineup video I put out and my transfer plans. Those are 2 slightly different plans of attack because things have changed with Vardy obviously out. De Bruyne is now out for 4 to 6 weeks. Spurs are going to go play a Liverpool team that's been quite bad, so we'll have to see. But United, top of the ticker for attack with Everton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, and Fulham in the top 5. You know, is it time to bring DCL back? I think it could be. Imagine not having Kane or Son. Yeah, that's probably... If when I go back to do my season review, that's going to be like probably top 3 on my list. Not getting in Spurs assets and sticking with them for the time. But who would have thought that Son and Kane would have been doing what they were doing? And their ownership's just nuts, right? So like literally if Son gets 6 points, it's like on live FPL, it's like the effective points against you is 6 points. It's like, oh, well, any points that Son scores literally just wreck my team. Waiting 1 more week to get Son. I don't want Kane. Well, Son's the one that's been outperforming his stats, whereas Kane has been pretty on point. So his performances have warranted those points. So, but we'll have to see. But in terms of attack, Spurs are at the bottom of the season ticker. However, I do think that it's a lot better for them than the ticker would suggest. Liverpool at home is potentially a very good fixture for them. They've shown that they could punish Liverpool on the break, which is exactly what United did in the FA Cup. Brighton, team that likes to play out perfectly into Jose Mourinho's hands, can definitely do well there. Chelsea, again, who knows what they're going to be like. West Brom, that should be a pretty comfortable game for them as well. So you can think that, you know, they play Liverpool and Chelsea, and they have West Brom and Brighton on either side of it. But those could easily be, you know, if Spurs come out of that with, you know, a draw in the Liverpool and Chelsea game, or maybe, you know, 3 wins out of 4, that's pretty good. That's probably what they're looking for. So Mourinho is probably looking at those games and saying, we need to beat Brighton, we need to beat West Brom, we should beat Chelsea, and we can potentially nick something versus Liverpool. So we'll see. Because Mourinho is going to want to beat Chelsea. That's what he's going to want to do. And it is at home, so he's going to want to win those home games. Son is against 2 teams with high defensive lines after Liverpool. He is right for picking those 2. And Liverpool play a high line too. So that's 3. West Brom will sit back, and then they may only get the 1 goal there, but and then versus City, who knows what's going to happen. But they beat them early in the season, so we'll see. Kane is my guy. He's exactly like on FIFA, slow, but has some great shots. 1 game he scores 5, the next game he blanks. Yeah, that's true. He can do that. But you know what you're going to get out of Kane. He's going to try to do a little bit of everything. He's on penalties. He's expensive, but, you know, he's Harry Kane. Liverpool is still Liverpool, not the defense that struggles. I think it is the defense that struggles. I don't know if anyone watched the FA Cup versus United and Liverpool, but Marcus Rashford is pretty quick, one might say. And he got in up against Reece Williams, the young center back, and up against Trent Alexander-Arnold. Even Wan-Bissaka dribbled past Robertson twice, which that's when you know there's a problem. That is when you know there is a big problem, and that they're having issues at the back. So yeah, it could be a bit interesting for that. I think Tottenham's gonna win. I personally think Spurs are gonna win. I don't know what I actually predicted in the preview, but I think it's gonna be probably either a draw or Spurs win. Still think Son will be a problem since Trent is having a bad... Exactly. Son is basically Rashford, but older and probably better. And he's shown that with his performances this season. So, yeah. Liverpool will win 1-0. Tottenham will win 3-1 is my guess. I think Spurs could easily... Like, I think the most... Probably the lowest betting odds for a scoreline will probably be like Spurs 2-0 or something like that. 2-1 makes sense as well. I think Spurs will... If Spurs score the first goal, that is exactly what Jose Mourinho is going to want. If Spurs get a goal on the break, first half, it's probably game over for Liverpool. Almost certainly. Because Liverpool haven't been very good offensively. They'll keep trying to whip crosses into the box. Spurs will deal with that all day. Son's going to get another one on the break, and then it's going to be 2-0, and then it's wraps. So, yeah. For defense, it says Chelsea's the best on the ticker. However, they just got a new manager, so we don't know what's going to kind of go on there. United's up there. West Ham is up there. You know, obviously only having the one bad fixture versus Liverpool. But it could be a good fixture. Who knows? Down the bottom, though, we have Liverpool defense. Again, this is one of the main reasons why I'm looking to get rid of Robertson. Even if it is for a hit. You know, Spurs is down there. Burnley's even down there, but I think if you have Nick Pope, could be some save points in that, because Burnley have been better and better and better, and he could be a pretty good goalkeeper. He's actually, Nick Pope this season, I actually found this out, Nick Pope this season, with the amount of points that he scored, is higher than any defender in the game at the moment. Nick Pope has more points in the game, currently, than any defender, which is nuts to think about it. So like if I go to goalkeepers, Martinez and Nick Pope are on 92 points. If I go to defenders, Robertson's the highest with 88. I got rid of Pope for Martinez, and I'm happy with that because I'm going to keep him longer term. But yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about that. City is up there for the next, at least for the next 3 fixtures. If I were to get rid of a couple of these fixtures, City goes straight to the top for defense. West Brom away, Sheffield United home, Burnley away. Like, it can't get any better. That you're looking 2-3 clean sheets in there for sure. You would think. So yeah. Zodiac says here's a Nick Pope. Yep, Nick Pope is very good. Madison or Barnes, we're saying Tielemans on pens is a shout. Let's see, what are their prices? Leicester. So I just have it off just the side here. So we got Madison on 7.2 million. We got Barnes on 6.8. Tielemans on 6.4. The thing is, Tielemans, he's only going to really maybe pop up with a penalty. Whereas Madison's going to create the assist. But Vardy's out for, I think they said 10 days before he's back in training. Which means that he misses this game week, next game week, potentially the next game week after that too. And then might be back for the following weekend. So, can they do it with Iheanacho? I'm not sure. If there's somebody that's going to create something in and around the box for themselves, it's going to be Barnes. If it's outside the box or off a set piece, probably Madison. I think Madison's probably the best one to kind of go for. Personally. Iosi Perez could play as a false 9 too. He could be a differential. Mind you, Iosi Perez in a Leicester shirt hasn't been anywhere near what he was for Newcastle. Newcastle could probably use him right about now. Just as a midfielder. Rafinha to Bernardo Silva for -4. Nah. Rafinha's got Newcastle this week. No way. I'm definitely playing Rafinha. Rafinha's probably the best budget mid outside of Gundogan this week. Which we'll get onto in a second. I had him since his 16-point haul versus Brighton. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I'm just gonna break across a little table. So this is a table that I managed to nick from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. Which, if you haven't done so, make sure to go over there. It's only £20 for the whole year. You get to create all sorts of tables. You get to go to see other people's tables as well. It's fantastic. This shows ordered by expected goal involvement of basically all the players that play for City that aren't Kevin De Bruyne. So obviously Kevin De Bruyne has been injured. Looking to get rid of Leeds players? No, don't get rid of Leeds players. I have to bench either Bamford or Rafinha. Ooh, probably Rafinha. Probably Rafinha. Just because Bamford is like the main focal point of the attack, sort of. And he's going to be the closest to the goal, but I do like Rafinha versus Newcastle. I'll probably get rid of Dallas from Leeds. The defense is horrible. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But Newcastle aren't very good, so... and it depends where Dallas plays. If Dallas is playing like left mid or like central midfield, then yeah, sure. But if he's playing in at left back again or something, then he's not as good. Because I think Leeds have some... They're getting players back as well. Also, I just realized all my stuff on the right is wrong. So I'm going to change that really quickly. Let me just minimize that. So, game week rank. It's 498. 498. Overall points was 481. My overall rank is 1.13. There we go. Sorted that right out. Okay, let me bring back up the little table here. Any chance Cancelo starts in KDB's role? You know what? That's not a bad shout. But if I had to guess, they'll play obviously Ederson in goal. They'll play Cancelo at left back. They'll play Walker at right back if he's fit. If Walker's not fit, they'll play Zinchenko at left back. They'll play Cancelo at right back. They'll play Stones and Diaz for sure. They'll play Gundogan and Rodri as like the holding midfielders. They'll play Mahrez one side, Sterling the other side, Foden in the 10, and Bernardo Silva as the false 9. And they'll just go with that, I think. Or they'll play Jesus up front. But Cancelo's, like, they play... It's weird, because they play, like, 3... so they have one of the fullbacks, usually not Cancelo, tuck in with the 2 center backs. They then have Cancelo and Rodri in front of them. Then they have, like, a front 4, sort of, and then, like, a front 1, which is the false 9. And they kind of just rotate those 5 players, which is a bit weird. But yeah, Walker could be injured. So if that's the case, then I think they might go Zinchenko in at left back, and they'll play Cancelo at right back. And then Cancelo just slots in alongside Rodri. And then basically takes up Gundogan's position, and then Gundogan goes forward more, which is interesting. Or I can start both, but then Cresswell or Salah needs to go on the bench. Not sure about that. Yeah. So I would definitely play Bamford and Rafinha over Cresswell, probably. Definitely not over Salah. Salah's way too much money. Salah's way too much money. No reason to get rid of Bamford. Yeah, there's no reason to get rid of Bamford. And you don't bench a 12 million player. Don't matter how much they are. I can see benching like a Trent or a Robertson. That can kind of make sense if they have a really bad defensive fixture where they haven't been very good and they've been, you know, conceding goals. But yeah, I don't see benching Salah or somebody like that. This doesn't make sense. Saka or Souček for the long term. Probably Souček. Souček could have a double game week where, again, where Saka might not, even though his double game week won't be as good. Because Arsenal is out of the FA Cup, so they're more likely to not have a double game week in 26. I want to sell TAA, don't want to sell it, but don't want to take a hit for it. If Tottenham score, he gets potential returns, even though he is scuffed this season. Yeah, that's true. Then my bench would be Kufal, Cresswell, and Saka. That's a strong bench. Yeah, I mean, if you've already used your bench boost, you can start getting rid of these players because you don't really need that strong of a bench. You want to go as cheap and cheerful as possible, but you know you want to have at least 1 to 2 good subs on there in case of cancellations or whatever. But it seems like they've somewhat got that under control for the time being. But we'll see. But yeah, getting back to this table here. So if you can see here, Gundogan is top for expected goal involvement. He's created 6 chances. He's had the most goal attempts with 15, higher than anyone else. And he cost pretty much the cheapest out of all the players that you would expect. And that's because he goes into this kind of like attacking number 8 role and gets into the box and gets up and down the pitch quite well. And 5.5 million, you can save. So if De Bruyne, if you bought him in when he was 11.9, what's that? 6.4 million you get to add? You could take literally one of your cheap forwards, like a Wilson or something like that, and go straight to Kane. No problem. So Gundogan has been doing quite well. You shouldn't sell Robertson either, maybe for game week 22. I think Liverpool's defense has been so bad that it is worth selling them. If you're selling them for a City defender, perfectly fine. If you're selling them for potentially a Chelsea defender, I think that's okay too. Harry, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. I used bench boost last round, and now I had to get rid of KDB. Yeah, so if you use your bench boost, then you don't really need to worry about your bench, unless you want to make sure that you have, some players there, just in case. If I sell TA for Cancelo, I have around 10 million in the bank this game week. It's a lot of money. Yeah, it is a lot of money. But again, people may think, oh, look at this guy, he's not very good. But it depends. If you have a very good lineup for this game week, then you can assess the money afterwards. It leaves you more flexible. Is anyone going to have a double game week before 26? Probably City. Most likely. Because City have a lot of games to make up. I think... So, if you go and check out... I'll link his... I'll link his Twitter in the chat here. If you haven't done so, follow this guy, Ben Carellin. He does all the different, kind of permutations of what could happen, and he has a table which basically says who could potentially blank and that sort of stuff. I think he said that either one of 2 City games will be in 24 if City go through, which I think they play... I don't even know who they play. Who does City play? Man City. Man City play Swansea. So you would think that they would beat Swansea, right? If they do beat Swansea, then either they have to play Everton or Southampton in 24, probably. Which means that they'll play... Let's see, where's the fixtures? Who do they play in 24? They play Spurs. So they'll play Spurs and Everton or Spurs and Southampton in 24. There's a chance Leeds gets a double in like 23, potentially, but we're still not sure on that because Leeds is a team that doesn't have any European competition to deal with. They're not in the FA Cup. Southampton is in the FA Cup, so maybe they organize around that. So if that was the case, if Southampton had to play, let's say, a double in 23 or 24, then against Leeds, then City would play the Everton fixture. Antonio Watkins, if I already have double West Ham defense. I still think Antonio's good. I like Antonio better. Do I have anyone from Villa? Yeah, I have Martinez in goal. And looking to get Grealish. Oh, and if you don't have any Villa, if he's talking about Harry, Watkins is probably good. Although, according to the season ticker, attack-wise, Aston Villa isn't the best over the next 5. The lower third, pretty much. Grealish for 21 looks good, though. I like Grealish for 21. That's what I'm looking to do as well. So yeah, this is basically what I'm looking to do transfer-wise. So either I'm going to do, so the next 3 weeks, basically, these are the players that I'm getting rid of. Robertson's gone. Souček's gone. De Bruyne's gone. Son will be in for sure. Grealish will be in for sure. And then this defender is probably going to be Stones, because I think I like triple City defense over the next 3 game weeks. Because I think Stones and Diaz are too good to drop at the moment. Because Laporte was terrible in the FA Cup. He was the reason they conceded a goal to Cheltenham or whatever they're called. So that's going to be my transfers. How long till Salah has to go? See what it does versus Spurs. Then he's got West Ham away, which isn't terrible. But it's also not great either. And then Brighton is the real one. If he does nothing versus Brighton, I think then out the door he goes. Because then he's got Man City, he's got Leicester, he's got Everton. All of which have, very good sides. Everton will be full strength. Jamie Vardy will be back by them, and they're pretty much full strength. You can get rid of him for those 3. And then if Liverpool have a double of Sheffield United +1, it'll be Sheffield United and Chelsea, I think. If they were to have a double. So, which would be pretty good, I think. But yeah, Salah is quite a lot of money at the moment. But I think he's still... he scored 2 versus United in the FA Cup, so I don't think it's anything, anything crazy to hang on to him still. Yes, he's blanked a lot, but then that just kind of means that you just don't rely on him for the captaincy. And I don't think you're going to be captaining him in the next 2. Like Spurs away, West Ham away, you're not going to captain him. Which means you could potentially get rid of him, but... Liverpool no double because knocked out of the cup though, right? No, because they got knocked out of the cup, that means they are more likely to get a double. So basically, if you get knocked out of... Well, actually, no. If you get knocked out of the cup, then you're more likely to not blank in 29. However, I had that the wrong way around. You were right. They could still have a double, and the reason being is because their opponent... would have been Chelsea, I think it is, in 29. So if Chelsea get through, then they blank there anyway. That's how it works. So these are the fixtures for 29. So basically, if either Liverpool or Chelsea were to get through in the FA Cup, then this fixture is a blank. So... so another thing that's easy to see. So United versus Crystal Palace, Arsenal versus West Ham. Both Arsenal and Crystal Palace aren't in the FA Cup anymore. Since United play West Ham, we know that either West Ham or Arsenal or United versus Crystal Palace will be a blank, and the other one will be in Game Week 29. Even if you know, there will be some teams that play a double game week in 26, but also don't blank in 29. There are going to be circumstances for that too. Yeah, Liverpool will get a double versus Sheffield United and Chelsea if Chelsea beat Norwich or Barnsley. Ben Krellin has this as well. I think I retweeted it as well. The particular permutations. I can show you what the table looks like. If I can find it. Let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. So that's the table there. So basically, if City beat Swansea, or if Wolves beat Southampton, so if either those two happen, Man City and Wolves don't play at 29. Same with the Liverpool-Chelsea. Where's Liverpool versus Chelsea? Basically, it's a blank if Chelsea beat Barnsley, straight up. You know. Same as Sheffield United versus Sheffield United. They play, who's BRC? I don't know who BRC is. I'm spacing out on that. Basically, if Sheffield United were to lose, that's not a blank. Aston Villa versus Sheffield United, which would be great for a Game Week 29 fixture. If Brighton beat Leicester, that's not going to happen. Brighton are probably going to lose to Leicester, which means Brighton and Newcastle will probably also be in this in these fixtures. And then as you can see here, Fulham versus Leeds, both from out of the FA Cup, that's going to be a fixture in 29. Bristol City. Okay, there you go. Didn't know the abbreviation. So Spurs beat Wickham. So this fixture becomes a blank if Southampton beat Wolves or Everton beat Spurs. So basically, another thing that we do know is either the West Brom versus Everton fixture will be a blank, or the Spurs versus Southampton one will be a blank. Because if they beat Everton, well, actually no, Southampton could, no, these could still both be blanks actually. But basically, if Spurs beat Everton, then this one's not a blank. But you could still have Southampton beating Wolves, and then it's still a blank anyway. So, so yeah, not ideal there. But yeah, getting back to this table here, Gundogan is the definite, standout here. Foden's there as well, but for some reason, Foden gets dropped every now and again. Gundogan plays all the games. Like the first subs that this shows you how important certain players are to Pep Guardiola. So, first three players that Pep brought on versus Cheltenham was Diaz, Gundogan, and Cancelo. Those were the three players he brought on in a time of we need to get some goals. Because Gundogan can create and score, Diaz is solid at the back, and Cancelo can create and score. One of the Gunners versus United again? Yeah, that's also a potential option as well. If we look at Sterling, again, not as involved as the likes of Gundogan. You have Cancelo, who's created 5 chances. Could have potentially also scored as well. I think this may be over the last 4 matches, but Cancelo should be in for a monster hole, which is why I like the captain choice for him this week. The only problem is that if he doesn't start for whatever reason, then it's kind of an ouch. But yeah, so those are the transfers that I'm potentially looking at. So it's either going to be like De Bruyne out for like Gundogan. In which case, the following week, I can do Souček to Son. I can even, and then I can go Rafinha. If I get rid of Robertson, I can go up to Grealish as well. You know, there's many different ways to do it, but I think the one that I like the most, because I think Stones is literally undroppable at the moment. He's been so good at the back. Stones out, which means I have to get rid of De Bruyne, and I'm just going to bring in Son, because Son's going to do basically what Rashford did versus Liverpool. And then that allows me the following week, I can choose here. I can either choose to get Grealish in midfield, or I can go for Calvert-Lewin, who's only 7'6" at the moment. And in 21, he plays Newcastle, which is great. He then plays Leeds, which is great. He plays United, which isn't as great, but he did score or get an assist. Then he plays Fulham, which is great. And you just have him for the run-in. And then after, so that would be for hit in 20. 21, bring in Calvert-Lewin potentially. 22, get rid of Souček. Bring in, what's this dude's name? Grealish. 23, I can then, get rid of Salah. And who does Bamford play? There's many different options for it. I wish Calvert-Lewin was a midfielder. Hey Elliot, how's it going? Hey Nuka-Cola. That is a Fallout reference. Nuka-Cola was good stuff, apparently. Apparently it was like Coca-Cola, but except it had like a bit of radioactive stuff in it. Which is interesting. So yeah, Fallout was a sick game. That's probably top 3 games, Fallout 3, probably of all time for me. Am I looking forward to the game week? I definitely am. I am definitely looking forward to this game week. It's a lot calmer without the doubles in it. So yeah, definitely a lot calmer, I would say. I'm 100% getting Werner in Game Week 23. Yeah, but that's because you're a Chelsea fan, and he could be good, actually, to be fair. I even picked, I even picked him to win the Golden Boot, but that's obviously not going to happen. Triple City defense, that's dirty. Yeah, it could be. What do you think about Mike? Oh. You almost got me. You almost got me. From AC Milan, he's a rising star. You almost got me on there. Luckily, I know how to read. Yeah, Triple City defense could be quite good. Could be quite good. But I do like the proposition of DCL. Is there a situation where... So if I go De Bruyne to Son, Robertson to Stones, is there any way I can go to Kane in 1? So I could go DCL in 21. Do nothing in 22. Then do Salah out for Grealish, and then 23 I can get rid of Bamford and go to Kane if I wanted to. Maybe I can go for something like that. And then I can always upgrade one of the cheaper midfielders, because most weeks I'm going to play 3 in defense, either Souček or Rafinha, and then play the front 3. Yeah, Elliot, you tried to be a little bit cheeky on that one. Don't worry, I'm not Robbie from AFTV. I know how to read. Because I was like, who is this player? I let him go time ago. I mean, he's 7'6", and if we look at so I'm just bringing up the Everton team on the side here in the transfers. Literally, they have Nkuku, who's yellow flagged with a knock. Decore is suspended, so that's not an injury. Alan is expected to be back versus Newcastle, so that's a big boost for them. Delph is out long term, but Delph doesn't usually play. Gebamin's been out for forever as well. And then they have everyone else back. Why not Bamford over Calvert-Lewin? Because Bamford after... Well, I have Bamford in my team currently. But Bamford is very good in away fixtures, so Newcastle, Leicester could get something. But then home to Everton, home to Crystal Palace. Not necessarily great. Away to Arsenal, probably okay. But then it depends on if he has a double or not. Like, maybe I get rid of... It's going to be tricky, because Antonio is so good. Everton... Newcastle, Leeds, Manchester United. So maybe I go De Bruyne out, Robertson out. I go, this is in 20, to Stones, change the whole players, Stones and Son. 21, Chris Wood to Calvert-Lewin. 22, don't do anything. 23, use 2 free transfers. Salah out. Salah out. And Bamford out. But again, if he has a double, it changes things. It's really difficult. Because I definitely want, like, Kane and Son from 23 onwards is probably pretty good. And they still have to play Fulham away. They still got to play Aston Villa. They still have games to be played. My head says Luke Shaw right now, but I don't know. No, Luke Shaw is too much of a risk. I think Tellez will play against Sheffield United. Shaw has played a lot of games in a row. And against teams that are just going to sit back and do basically nothing. Even though the stats show, I think it's blocks, interceptions, tackles, per 90, Tellez is better than Shaw. Some stat I saw that showed that. Can't remember where it was. So technically, defensively, Tellez is better. If those stats are true. I'm not sure if they are. I can't remember where they came from. Off the top of my head, it was a Man United fan channel that came up, that found it. Can't remember if it was Stretford Paddock, United Stand, whoever. I took a -4. Kane, Madison in, De Bruyne, and Watkins out. Watkins out. I mean, versus Burnley, yeah, probably makes... Watkins is the type of player where he's gonna... He just came up with the championship. He's not going to be as clinical. I like Kane. Not necessarily for this week. But if you had to facilitate the move in order to bring Kane in, like as into, if you wanted somebody other than Watkins and wanted to use the funds, then yeah, sure. I think it's fine. Me personally, I think Watkins is a player that's going to be like, he's going to be like Bamford. He's going to be somewhat wasteful. He's going to be somewhat inexperienced, just came from the championship. There's going to be games where he's going to have massive holes. And then sometimes he's not going to do very well. So like this week, I don't think Watkins is going to do particularly well because he's versus Burnley. The person that's going to do well potentially versus Burnley, if anything, is going to be like Barkley from outside the box, Traore from outside the box, Grealish from outside the box, or set play. The logic is De Bruyne captain, so I had to bring in another potential captain. Yeah, that makes sense. So Kane is a captaincy option for this week potentially. If you're going to captain either Kane or Son out of those two versus Liverpool, Son is probably the better pick. In terms of Zaka's question, captain Bruno or Son, I think Bruno, just because it's Sheffield United, right? Even though at Madison he has been super lucky and Barnes looks better for the longer term. No, I think Madison's on set pieces. He's the talisman in terms of like creation. Barnes is probably more likely to pick up something inside the box. But remember, Barnes is also a player somewhat wasteful, not necessarily the best finisher. Madison's very good at shooting from pretty much anywhere in and around the box, and even just outside the box. And he's going to be on set pieces too, so it's another factor to kind of take into consideration. Um, but yeah, could be quite interesting on that front in terms of who's going to do well for Leicester, especially with the fact that Vardy's out. I think Maddison will take pens because Vardy's out. Not sure about it. No, it'll be Tielemans. Tielemans has taken penalties when Vardy's been out in the past. However, Maddison was injured for a lot of last season, or large portions of it. So, could be either one of those two, but I think it's Tielemans. Without Vardy, someone will have to supply the finishes to Maddison's creativity, and I think that will be Barnes. Yeah, it'll either be Barnes, Iheanacho, Iosi Perez, somebody of that ilk, basically, will be in there. But yeah. If you haven't done so already, make sure to follow the stream here. We're going to be doing another one probably with quick turnaround. What's today? Today is Monday, so it's Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll be back Thursday for a for the preview stream, and then we'll also be back for the deadline on Saturday. So basically stream on Thursday, stream on Saturday, maybe a little cheeky video in between. We'll see. Harvey Barnes is an equalizer. Yeah, he's someone that's also very direct, like players like that. It's just his finishing has been a bit, bit suspect. I think Robertson is still worth people have been suffering from him lately. No, he's probably gone from my team this week, almost certainly. The transfers that I'm either thinking of is De Bruyne is definitely leaving, and it's going to be for Son, for sure. Because I think he has more upside this week as well as longer term over Grealish at the moment. It also makes it one less Spurs player that I have to bring in going into next week. And the week after, and the week after, and the week after. Considering Reece James, I would say wait on Chelsea personally. I would say if you have Chelsea assets, hang on to them and kind of wait and see. If you're thinking about bringing them in, wait and see as well, personally. Unless you're just fed up with them, in which case, yeah, just bin them. And then the other transfer that I could potentially do is Robertson out and then bring in that third City defender, which is what I'm looking so heavily at. Because for me, Gundogan is nice. He looks good. But I think just City defense is just so good, especially over the next three. Like if I'm looking at this, fixture-wise, John Stones and Diaz are playing all three of these games. Almost certainly. Maybe Stones doesn't start versus Burnley. Maybe. But Cancelo's playing every game. Diaz is going to play every game. Like, they have to. You need to be able to... Diaz doesn't get dropped, basically. And Cancelo is not... He shouldn't be rotated. He's... Him, Foden, Bernardo Silva, that's the creativity now. There's no De Bruyne in the team. They have to get creativity from somewhere. I'd go with Reguilon personally. Maybe not first pool, but in general... I mean, Reguilon can be rotated as well. Although Ben Davies looked like he came up with an injury in their FA Cup game tonight. So, maybe. Yeah, he could be a risk of rotation. Like the City defenders are just so cheap. They're just so good. It just makes the most sense. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I've been thinking about all week. So I'm just going to make those transfers now. And then Stones comes in. And then the question is who to play on the... So I'll put Kufal ahead of Chris Wood probably. And I'll play Souček over Kufal just because of set pieces. Crystal Palace aren't very good. Just wait for City to not keep a clean sheet now. Hey, if they don't, they don't. That's where hopefully Cancelo gets some returns in then. If City don't keep it clean, like, because I'm looking at this, I'm saying, out of these three games, Cancelo has been... Pep said that Cancelo regenerates pretty well in terms of his fitness. Diaz will play all of these games. He'll play all of them. Stones will probably play 2 out of 3 at the worst, but will definitely play 2. And Cancelo will probably play all 3 as well. But again, West Brom don't really score many. Um, they're at home, so they're more likely to attack slightly, which is favor City a little bit. But again, and then Sheffield United at home. Sheffield United ain't scoring. And then Burnley away. Burnley don't score many anyway. So if they're gonna like at most these teams score one, in which case that's not terrible because you could still potentially get a set piece goal from Diaz or Stones. You could still potentially get open play goal from Cancelo. So we'll see. Bruno the only captain? No, I think there's some good captaincy shouts. I think Son versus Liverpool is perfectly fine. I think Bruno's at the top of the list. I think Bamford, good shout. Antonio, good shout. Obviously, people have toyed around with obviously Cancelo as an example. I think Grealish isn't a terrible option. I think if you have Ings, maybe that's a differential pick because he'll be back versus Arsenal. So, we'll see. Let's see what fixtures stand out. I think, yeah, if you have Sterling, definitely probably go for him. I would have said Vardy in this fixture, but again, he's not playing anymore. A United asset of some kind, probably Bruno's the main one. Bamford, like I said. Antonio, like I said. And then maybe Son or Kane. But if I had to rank them, I would say probably, in terms of priority, I would say Bruno's top. Then probably Bamford / Antonio. In terms of like normal cheapies that everyone's probably getting on right now. If you're going for a punt on Sterling or Gundogan, I like that as well. Cancelo as well. I feel like Antonio and Bamford, both Antonio and Bamford will score. Yeah, it makes sense. I think they will as well. 3 City defenders, that's too risky for my taste. What if Rona hits City? Well, then it is what it is. But like City have been hit with it already, right? So my thinking is this: they're going to be more cautious than what they have been. So the likelihood is that they're going to be more protected. Also, a lot of the players in the team have already, well, some of them have gotten it. So like Villa had like 9 first team players that got it as well. So they're less likely to get it because of there's less members that can potentially get it again because your system is more immune to it, which means less likely of spreading and that sort of stuff for the people that haven't got it. And eventually these players are going to get vaccinations as well. So that's another thing to consider. Is Antonio on pens for West Ham? He was last season, but that's also when Mark Noble isn't playing, because when Mark Noble does play, he usually takes them. But I'm pretty sure Antonio's on penalties. I'm pretty sure he is. Mind you, West Ham haven't gotten one. But if you think logically, it's not going to be any of the defenders. It's not going to be Souček. Maybe Declan Rice, but probably not. Fornals, probably not. Ben Rama, maybe. Bowen, maybe, is a shout. And then, yeah, probably Antonio. You want your striker to take the penalties, right? Makes the most sense. Smokin', thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. But yeah, I think Bamford and Antonio are two great shouts. Because Antonio's no slouch on set pieces either. I just think Bruno at home, Sheffield United. It just seems to be like, apparently Bruno's a stat pattern. Not sure how that's the case, but he does get a lot of returns versus the lower teams. But if you look at all the teams that are considered in the big 6, or like the top 6, so Spurs, Leicester, Chelsea, Arsenal, City, Liverpool. Fernandes has gotten a goal and assist against all of them in all competitions. So it's not like he doesn't do anything versus the big teams. He does. The last time United played Sheffield United, he didn't actually get anything, but United did score 3, which was a bit interesting. He got subbed that game, which was weird. But at home, he's done quite well. 10 points last time to Aston Villa. 17 points versus Leeds. City was a 0-0, so nothing much there. 11 points versus West Brom. And then Arsenal, Chelsea against top 6 opposition. Scored a goal versus Spurs. So his home games have been pretty good, all things considered, this season. Son scored a goal last time versus Liverpool, so I think he's a shout. Bamford scored, I believe, versus Newcastle last time they played. Where did they play? Yeah, he scored. And Newcastle took 5, which is very possible to happen again. What did Rafinha do versus Newcastle last time? He only got just 1 point, which is a bit unfortunate for him. Did Salah score versus Spurs last time? Yeah, he got a goal versus Spurs. It was a penalty, I believe. Souček versus Crystal Palace. He didn't get anything, but again, Crystal Palace have been conceding set pieces, so we'll see. I like the triple defense. I think it's different. If City keep a clean sheet, all these people that are bringing in like just one City defender, and they're looking to just have two City players. If it's just the 2 City defenders, I have an advantage over that. In that sense, if City concede, it is what it is. Not the greatest thing to happen, but we just have to hope that Cancelo gets. If there's any time I'm going to consider even a City triple up in defense, if there's any time, West Brom, Sheffield United, Burnley. There's not a better time to do it, like at any point for the rest of the season. And then in 24, I can make moves to potentially rearrange some stuff to if they do have a double that week. But even then, double in defense. They're playing versus Spurs. Okay, they lost 2-0 last time. Maybe they'll want to rectify that. And then they may play Wolves or Southampton or Everton or something like that. So maybe they get a clean sheet in one of those games. So even still, looking quite good. But City's defense has just been elite. And I think that's because of Diaz and Stones and these sorts of players. But yeah. Yeah, we've been going on for a while here. So let's swap over to the big screen. Yeah, so that's going to do it for our Game Week 20 deadline stream. Thank you for the interactivity in the chat. Much appreciated to all of those that decided to join us. If you haven't done so, like I said, give us a follow here. Give us a follow over on Twitter. Make sure to subscribe over on YouTube. I'm going to post my lineup as I normally do if I change my captain, but it's going to be what you saw at the end of the stream there. Pretty much 99.9% guaranteed. So yeah, make sure to check all that stuff out. Most likely goal scorers in the Arsenal Saints game, probably Ings if I had to guess. Ings and Aubameyang, maybe. Maybe it's a 1-1. Can't remember what I predicted for that game. Nuka-Cola, thank you for the follow as well. Much appreciated. Actually, there's a song from Galaxy News Radio, if you've ever played Fallout, which fits very well to FPL. I think it's a song by Ella Fitzgerald, and it's called, and one of the lines in it is, into each life some rain must fall. So into each FPL team, some havoc may be wrecked among it. So we will see. 7th at the moment in your country. That's pretty good. I don't know how many people are in your country or what country you live in, but if you do get to rank 1, good on you. I don't think I'm anywhere close, but we will see. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Check out all the socials. Links are in the description. This is going to go up on YouTube afterwards. And yeah, we will see you back for the preview stream on Thursday after the fixtures. That is going to be after the Spurs versus Liverpool game, which is a 8 o'clock kickoff. So make sure to come check us out for that. We'll be back 7 p.m. EST, same start time as we had this one. So make sure to come check us out. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.